Lyndon Forbes, Samson Burnham, really known as the master politician and was an outstanding statesman too. He was a great leader, another hero, you understand. That's why we remember.
Yeah, morning to you, Guyana. I'm here with you again. This is the fourth Sunday of the month. And as usual, you know, every fourth Sunday, the Forbes Burnham Foundation brings to you the program called The State of the Nation. I'm your host again, Clayton Hines. But today is a very special day. We have just concluded local government elections. And with me in the studio are two very honorable gentlemen. To my extreme left is Mr. Gregory Fraser, who is first past the post constituency candidate for constituency 8 in the Georgetown municipality. Next to him is my erstwhile good friend, Mr. Ivelaw Henry, and he is first past the post candidate for constituency number 7. Both men have served in the city council over the past period since we had local government elections in 2016, and they have been re-elected again by the people in the constituency to serve again for another term. Yours truly, I was extracted from the list to represent constituency 5, so I'll be joining them on the council this time around to make sure we try and bring about the necessary changes and programs that can serve to enhance the life and welfare of the people who live in the 15 constituencies that devise Georgetown. I should say also that the breaking up of Georgetown in the 15 constituencies is a very significant step. All of us know that Lyndon Forbes Samson Burnham was a man who placed a high premium on local democracy, and be that as it may, he ensured that the people in the various areas in this country were represented and their issues were taken care of by ensuring that persons in those areas were represented by persons from the local community. He introduced, say, some systems and he refined it further. And now with this new government, they have broken it down even further. Georgetown, it was just a single constituency, but now we have 15 constituency, and you have representatives from each constituency taking care of the needs of the people in those constituencies. I'm dealing with 2 of those persons right now, and myself, who is representing constituency 5, and we would be talking about the local government elections and what are some of the things that can happen in this new round in the next 3 years. First of all, I want to start with my friend to the extreme left, Mr. Fraser. You have been there for the past 3 years. Now, what are some of your observations in relation to the Georgetown mayoral city and some of the difficulties which has been in the news in recent times? But I should say, before you can respond, that one of the major functions of the city council is to look after the welfare of its citizens.
Correct.
And to administer the affairs of the city in a very efficient and effective way. But you have been there for 3 years. What has been your observation?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Thank you, viewers, for having us in your homes this morning. Mr. Moderator, I've been there and I did observe a number of things. One of the things that the council is lacking, I think, is the fact that we are not garnering enough financial resources to do the kind of delivery of services to the people of this city. I am more than convinced that we have taken too long to make certain moves. We were not supported in the last 23 years prior to just over 2 years ago that our government is in office, and as a result, the council was starved of funds. The council was denied the opportunity to advance programs and policies that can bring money into the council, and we were not getting the kind of support. And I can even bring an instance to you where our Minister of
Local government?
our Minister of Public Health, Madam Vola Lawrence, who caused a bill to be passed in the Parliament in the last administration for $500 million. None came to the council. The council did not have a hands-on approach as it relates to the works that was being done. And I myself intervened when I saw sloppy work being done and taxpayers' money being spent. I made several calls to different officials, but what? The council had no mandate where it comes to spending that money and to making sure that areas that are supposed to be given priority are given priority, and you focus the resources there. We were not even given oversee authority. To the best of my knowledge, the engineer was called in, he was briefed, but had no say. So he couldn't determine how these monies were spent and where they were spent.
So you're saying that the garnering of resources for the council to carry out its works is one of the critical areas. And you know that the city council garner its financial resource largely by tax. I think I should bring in my friend Ivla here because he has been a man in the financial sector for some time. And I want to hear your views, Ivla, that some of the observations you made and some of the constraints you would think right now that you will be able to address when you get there, when you're sworn in again to serve for another 3 years. So you heard what Gregory said.
I heard what the councillor said. Before I answer the question, I'd like to preface my discourse by saying that I'm thankful to God for my being re-elected now as a constituency candidate in constituency 7, border Newtown area. I would like to thank the voters for having instilled some confidence in me. It wasn't an easy race, but we came out victorious. I say we because the APNU party, which I support, backed me, and we came out victorious. So we have a lot of work to do. I recognize that. Further, I would like to recognize Mr. Lyndon Forbes Sampson Burnham, our founder leader. I've seen in my constituency work that he would have done in 1954. As we all know, he was the first a mayor of Georgetown. And there's still work up there, like the bridge at the corner of Church and Light Street. No, South Road and Light Street, where we have Sunflower Hotel there. There's a bridge there. On it, you'll see Lyndon Forbes Sampson Burnham's credentials on it, 1954. So I'm very happy.
That appeared when he was mayor.
He was mayor then. And here we are, 3 of us, going forward from the Lyndon Forbes Sampson Foundation as councillors in the new dispensation. So we have to be thankful for what preceded us and how we did it.
That's a very important point you're making there, Ivla. But I want to also, I'd like you to, your constituency is one of the, it's not the biggest of the constituencies, but it's one of the constituencies that is situated in the commercial center of this country, in Georgetown. And your constituency deals with a lot of the businesses, Regent Street.
Exactly.
You got North Road and those places. You have the whole of Regent Street. You got part of Charlotte Street, all those areas. And that's really the commercial center of Georgetown. Now, Gregory was saying that one of the problems we have is mobilization and procuring the required taxes to cover whatever cost is incurred in terms of in the delivery of services. How you intend to really address those
Finance
matters?
is a challenge on the council. Councillor Gregory Fraser did mention some inhibiting factors earlier of the council. We have seen a transition of the council, the enlargement of the city of Georgetown since the 80s.
Yes.
Now, what our founding leader had was a smaller pocket.
Yes.
Now we have an expansion city.
Expanded.
An expanded city. And so the challenges are higher in terms of finances. And we also have the challenge whereby we know after 3 years having local democracy, for 23 years we hadn't it. And so there was a stalemate. Not only a stalemate, but the opposition party wasn't very helpful to Georgetown. Comrade Fraser mentioned it. So now we have a challenge in the city whereby you have financial problems, financial issues. You don't have the increases in rates and taxes acknowledged by the government. Matter of fact, the opposition are saying that there should not be no increase in rates and taxes, which is a folly. And I have debunked that statement in the sense that if you prorate it, the amount of rates and taxes collected by the individuals, I for one, I pay $15,000 a year. And when I prorate it in terms of daily, that's $41 per day. And the amount of services that the city has to give, like you have to remove garbage, which is a very $2 million a month. You have to have security in the markets. You have to have all of those other amenities are needed by the city. You know, it means that we are seriously challenged. And then you have the challenge of human resource. Arising out of shortage of finance over the years, you cannot attract the kind of staff, quality staff that you need. You understand? So the challenges mount up one against the other. To resolve the issue, we talk about the border area, which has all of these big businesses and so on. I think what we need to do is to have a greater rapport with the business community. Despite the fact that they owe us all of that, we have to have a greater rapport with them. I have segment the entire Georgetown city. We have the constituency people, we have the political people, and we have the business community. And we have to do some more work on each area, particularly the business community. They could do, and we could befriend them, and we could enable them, empower them to have a greater voice in terms of their own work and so on. And they will, of course, cooperate, and we will increase the finances through them in various ways, not only by actual liquid cash, but we could also have them to assist us. Mr. Lyndon Forbes Burnham was prominent in terms of self-help. You know, all of these areas we have to explore so that we could have Georgetown City be a more vibrant city.
Well, I'm interested in the point you made. In fact, and I should tell our viewers, I'll be opening the lines maybe in another 25 minutes, so you will have a chance to raise some questions and concern you have, and possibly make some recommendation to councillors, to these councillors, so that your concern can be addressed. And I want to zoom in on what you said, Ivla, the garnering of the resources that will be required to address all the needs. And you did kind of mention that there are some big businesses that has outstanding taxes which have not, because that's the way the council can function if the taxes are paid. If the residents of the city address this issue of tax payments in a very efficient manner. But I would like to perhaps look at the infrastructure to kind of to facilitate the efficient garnering of taxes and its use and the delivery of the services coming from those taxes were paid. Mr. Fraser did say that those were some of the concerns and the challenges that they face. But I wanted to perhaps address this issue of the council being, the whole of Georgetown being now divided into 15 constituencies. It's a clear indication that the councillors will have to do a lot more work in the constituency in ensuring that the residents take the responsibility of not only in maintaining a clean environment, but also ensuring that their duty to really pay the taxes, the required taxes, are also taken into account to make sure that they can demand the quality of service that are required. In constituency 7, how you intend to kind of combat these various issues that will be facing you in this time around?
You spoke to constituency 7.
Constituency 8, I mean. Constituency 8. Just kidding.
Mr. Moderator, you know, people are very conscious of what's happening in the constituencies. Trust me. They are keeping up to date with what's happening. For us to take on all the challenges in any constituency, would you know that? And I think you would know also that before I even go into the challenges of the constituency, it is this administration, this government, that on the committee that had to put together the local government commission and put together the framework and how the voting should take place. As related to first past the post and proportional representation, you would know that we were the person in opposition who championed this cause, while we were championing the cause of making sure that local government elections are held.
That's right.
And so we were successful. As a result, that engagement gave birth to two set of people coming out of a constituency. And you alluded to it earlier. One is the fact that you go first past the post, and you go proportional representation. The proportional representation is a part where the organization and political parties and those persons, or those bodies, will put up a number of persons. You happen to be one of those persons to come out of the PR, the proportional representation. The first past the post, and I think if my memory serves me right, it was Mr. Vincent Alexander who either chair or co-chair that committee that gave birth to the fact that another system must come out of local democracy, and persons must come out of their constituencies representing those constituencies, and they must be responsible for those constituencies. And they must work with those allow me please.
Yes.
And they must work with those people. Now, what has happened? We have had one chance of doing that. To some extent, many councillors did not succeed because of the fact that the council did not have the kind of resources to enable the kind of work to be done in constituencies. I must say I'm successful to some extent. Mr. Henry also is successful to some extent. The fact of the matter is, we'll have to go back in the area, talk to these people, tell them what their rights and responsibilities are. But when we do that, they are going to ask us, what are we going to bring to them? We must have tangible promises to make and not go just meet them, tell them, listen to their stories, and say, okay, good, we are going to do this, and like the last time, and then you have to go again to them after another 6 or so months, and you have not done anything. You don't have anything to tell them. You don't have any promises that you would have delivered. We would like to know, and I would like to see this council, when we make promises out of those engagements in the constituency, that we deliver on a timely basis. It calls for resources.
Yes.
And because it calls for resources, we will have to now sit down and decide where we are going to get the additional resources from. My good friend, Councillor Henry, over a period, showed me the system in which he checked out and realized that the council could be self-sustainable. And we can earn our own money and manage ourselves. We are an autonomous body.
But
the only thing is that we have not gotten the chance to get to that stage. I'm hoping, because you asked me to tell me what hinders us from progressing the way we would want to in the last period. So I've said to you, those are concerns we have. Those are things that was kind of red tapes. We're hoping that with this new councillor, we're able to over those red tapes, because the people are looking for delivery. They're not looking for us to talk. They're looking for us to work, and we can only work with the kind of resources coming out of either central government or the council of itself giving the liberty to put system in place and garner its own resources.
Combined with the delivery of efficient services is also the responsibility on citizens to make sure that their taxes, their part is played as well.
Yeah, that is true.
Now, while that is one of the issues that can be referred to as a gripe in the whole system, you would find persons will kind of develop an attitude as to why I'm not paying because the council is not doing this. And those are some of the areas that I think can, because if a person feel that, well, look, the city council ain't doing the thing I'm supposed to do. I think you made a point. I believe constituency representatives need to have more engagements with their constituency, so your concerns and constraints will be made known, and together, along with your constituency, in this new dispensation, it is hoped that those matters will be tackled with a view to ensuring that resources are not only garnered, but that the
Effective
constituents, the people living in the various constituencies, take the responsibility and play their part in making sure that these issues are addressed. One other thing I wanted to raise, the last time around, the last 3 years, the Georgetown and the city hadn't any opposition. Well, they had some opposition representative on the council, but this time around, the PPPC has garnered 7 representatives on the council,
That is true.
and the AFC 2.
That is
Now, that being so, now obviously the challenge will be more pronounced for all councillors who might be inclined to push their interpretation of the program that need to address the interests of their constituents. But equally, I think the task will be more pronounced in the sense that you will have to be able to present ideas and programs that can convince opposition that, well, look, what I'm doing is the interests of every person. Georgetown is our city. Georgetown used to be referred to as the Garden City of the Caribbean.
Yes.
And to get back to that stage, I heard that the president was saying, even if a person gets on the council as an opposition, they still have a responsibility and a duty to the constituents in the constituency where they live.
That is true.
So there might be, how would you be able to address this issue of a bigger presence of the opposition on the council? Would you, do you see the need for more collaboration of programs?
Let me make a point. In the campaign, we have seen the stereotype approach of the PPPC in terms of its candidates, not only in Georgetown but throughout Guyana. They had a central approach to their campaign. For example, they said no new taxes throughout Guyana, right? Accountability, and some other remarks in terms of reach. We have already have a policy of reaching out to the community, and we have debunked the statement where the centralized approach towards decision making and problem solving is not really something that each and every councillor should approach. Each constituency has its own issues and problems.
That's
so
right.
if you're going to come to council with something emanating from Freedom House, you understand? Disregarding, let's say, what's happening
Starting
in
with
Bordeaux.
negative already.
Yes, yeah, you're starting with a negative. And so we have, as we have said earlier, we have to look at reaching out to the community, having a greater interaction with members of the community. For me, I think about, breaking down my community, my area into, we have the business side, we have the constituency, the people, we have even our own political people, etc., to reach out and get their feedback and so on. One great mayor of New York City says, look, the thing about it, let me go to my community on a regular basis. Let me hear what my feedback, what they need, how I'm doing. And I think this is our approach. And when we have done that, the opposition will pass the grass, pass the grass.
I agree. So you're saying that consistent interaction with your constituents
Is what's
will
needed.
be one of the principal kind of requirements in this new round, to make sure that the people are all on board with whatever program you will be introducing, based on the recommendations and so on through your consultations, so that they can buy into whatever you're doing to make sure that the work of the council becomes a little less onerous.
And the other point we need to know is that on the main city council, we have 21 councillors.
Yes.
21 councillors.
Yeah.
They have a lot of work to do. And somebody has said prior to 1992, they would have had 8. They would have had 8. So they still have a lot of work to do in Georgetown. They have not done what they're supposed to do in Georgetown in the 23 years.
And trust me,
in the 23 years, they are still behind in terms of their work in the city of Georgetown. And so people are making notes of these things.
Yes.
Yes, trust me. What happened at this election will never happen again at another local government election. Trust me on that. And we are going to retake what we've lost at any other election, be it local government election or national election. Trust me on this.
Because of the work that
we
councillors are
know
prepared
that,
to do.
we know that, you know, all politics is local, you know, and we have to take our local politics to our constituencies. And in those constituencies that we have lost, we also still have councillors there who would have come from the proportional representation list, who are still active and will be continuing to do their work whether they are councillor or not. They have made that they have made that clear to the management of the city, to in fact to our district, that councillor or not, we know that we have a work to we have a duty to perform, and they are going to do their work, and this council will have to deliver. This council will have to deliver.
I want to tell our viewers that the lines will be open in a very short while, but from what I've garnered here from you two fellas who have been there, I am now joining you two on the council now in this new dispensation. Now, I think I would not be wrong to say that the period that you have served can be classified as apprenticeship period, where you now really season yourself to really take up the kind of mantle meaningfully and deliver.
We'll make sure you don't go through that old period to be an apprentice.
Of being an apprentice. So I will just join the team.
Correct.
And make sure that we deliver what is required for the city of Georgetown. I want to say, viewers, the lines are now open. You are free to make your calls, and we will try to see whatever answer you can make recommendations on what you think needs to be done for the city. If you have any recommendation, proposal, of course, we will entertain them and perhaps make note of them so that when we get there after being sworn in, we will try to deliver on those matters. Like I said, and I think I totally agree with you fellas, more interaction at the local level. And this is all the idea of Lyndon Forbes Sampson Burnham. The more the people are acquainted with what is happening and what is happening in their constituency, it will be the better for them. The lines are gone. Morning, you're on the air.
Good morning.
Morning, my dear.
How long are you folks going to sit down and tell us it's a financial problem? What are you doing? How many more elections y'all want me to put you in there to tell us that the council got a financial problem? We need to know what is the strategy you're using to garnish finance.
Yes.
That's what we need to know. And one of the things is to charge people for littering in the city. You go around the place you call the Burnham deal. If you see food boxes, charge the people. Since you land in New York, you know you can't wrap a sweetie paper.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
Charge the people. The public saw the Minister of Works put a roundabout there. By city. He's going to plant some flowers there. I don't know how many months he needs, how many agriculturists he needs, but right now he's planting bottles. Right?
Yeah.
You understand?
Yes, I understand.
Charge the people for littering. You would see how much money you will garnish.
Yeah, that's an area that you can garner some money. That is true. I totally agree with you, but I'm glad that you've made a recommendation, and I will note it.
Secondly, you need to raise rates and tax. Look how many people are now having a business which used to be a residence.
Okay.
The same building. You need to charge, but you can't raise the people rates and tax to 100%. But every year you can raise by 5-10%.
Yes.
You need to raise rates and tax. You need to look at all those places in Regent Street that once used to pay residential rates are now having a business.
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
But yeah, in Denmark, you know, we got a financial problem.
Yeah,
we ain't gonna put you in Denmark. You tell me they got a financial problem.
Well, I agree.
Tired of hearing it. We tired.
I can't agree with you more. What you have recommended, what you need to hear is the strategy that has been put in place to address the shortcoming.
Bill and all that roundabout is collecting bottles.
Okay.
I tell people I would never do a cleanup campaign on the seawalls unless they start charging people for littering. Because I ain't going there Saturday and clean up, and Sunday people littering.
Yes.
You understand? I try to clean my area. In front of me, I try and get my area clean. We ain't putting y'all in there no more. Y'all tell me financial. We tired of it.
All right. Thank you very much for calling.
And come up with it and get it right this time.
All right. Thank you very much for the
Yeah,
call.
hold on. So much seat, I in the last move.
Let me tell you this.
Councillor Fraser would want to make some comments in relation to the proposal you've made, and I would like to let him tell viewers what he thinks. Let me hear you, Fraser.
Thank you, caller. Your observation is correct. Your statements also found favor to my ear, I believe to my other colleagues here. I want to make one thing, though, say one thing, though, that the seawalls and the roundabout is the responsibility of the Ministry of Works and not the Mayor and City Council. But we, as a council, so often try to take it on and do what is necessary. But what I know also is that the Ministry of Public Infrastructure would normally have a vehicle every morning or every other morning, a truck. Because there are some mornings when I go out to exercise, I will see that truck clearing the area after the night before. So there was some contractual arrangement with some private person to have that area clean. Maybe when you go there, madam, maybe they may not have gone there yet, or maybe they may have missed a day or two. But the council don't really focus on that area because there's an arrangement with the Ministry of Public Infrastructure to deal with that. And it's a private contractor, I know for sure, because I saw the person. But I want to make this other point, because there's mention of the fact that we've said so often that we are cash-strapped and we don't have money and so we can't deliver the services. We have tried in the past to get our taxes. You know, all the pavement and all the pavement and the sidewalks in Georgetown that belong to the council, they are valuable resources. And when we give them out, we must be able to collect the kind of resources that is tangible to what we are giving, or equate to what we are giving. The light posts on the pavement, the light posts, the GPL posts, we are paying GPL from the council. We're paying light bill from the council. We're paying telephone bills from the council. But those two entities are using up our space. And we, for some time now, been engaging them to try to get some kind of return for the occupation of our space. And allow me now, man. For the occupation of our space. For the occupation of our space. And we have not reached that point where we finalize on something. That is why I said earlier, this council must and will deliver. Because we are going to try to close those engagements and come to something that is tangible and reasonable for both of us. So we will have additional... You will
develop the right strategy.
The right strategy to get the kind of resources.
But that's what she's talking about.
Yes. I also, and one more piece. We have not raised taxes because we don't think there is a need right now for raised taxes. What we need to do is to give the people the true value of their properties. And if you give the people the true value of the property, when they approach a banking institution, they don't have to run to the valuation office to say, look, I want my property to be appraised so that I can go to the bank. They already have the right value. The right value would equate the right taxes. We don't have to raise taxes.
Thank you very much. Let me hear you.
My point is potentially Georgetown is a viable city. Matter of fact, of all the towns and our city, Georgetown has potential at all times to have a lot of finances. But the stumbling blocks are some of them that we have mentioned earlier. But it's potentially a very viable city. We don't have to depend on central government if everything go right. As I said, one of the things we have to have buy-in with the business community, buy-in with the people, the constituencies, buy-in with our very political parties around us, including the PPP. Because they themselves will benefit from a viable city.
Yeah, that's true.
You understand? This is Guyana own.
But what she's saying, and you have just said it, and Fraser has said the same thing too, you have to develop the right strategy this time around to make sure that this song of "We Strap for Finance" is not sung
no more,
as frequent as it was being sung over the past period of time. Money on here. Well, I missed that one just now. Yes, you're saying with the right. She's saying that what she need to know and what citizens want to hear this time around is the development of the right strategy to address the needs of the people who live in Georgetown, so they would not be this song of strap for cash all the time.
No, that's right.
Morning, you're on here.
Good morning, Julian.
Morning.
Good morning.
You know, the last local government election that we had, I saw the representative once.
Yeah.
Next year election that I went and voted, I have not seen the representative once. My area to sell what.
Is there?
It's stressful. I live on Lane Avenue, which is part of West Vincent.
Uh-huh.
You got the ball at the alley.
Mm.
The last election, the precinct election, I have not seen the new representative. I didn't see the old one. I'm going to tell you something. That's a man named Forbes Burnham.
Yes.
He used to work with him. You used to do at a certain time of the year. Got a thing named Meet the People Tour.
Mm-hmm.
I start from Mara again for class school. Then start from school, second again, the break it took. Periodically used to do that. That is the mistake that this government is making.
All right.
If the people kind of do the want.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I'll tell you what, the Burnham working for y'all from this mistake again. Y'all understand. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for calling. Here again, another caller saying that the need for more interaction from constituency representative would address many of the problems that are raised by citizens of Georgetown right now to bring an end to this song of Strap for Cash, which has been the same kind of refrain all along. Morning, you're on the air. Morning.
I'd like to give a talk to you for all representatives of three very important constituencies. What is the problem with the pavement in Georgetown?
What's the problem with the pavement?
The sidewalk that is there for people to walk, for
Yeah.
road safety,
Yes.
well-being. The pavement coming from all over Georgetown, high, low, out, in, bush. This is the city, Regent Street, is a disgrace to health. And the first thing for any country is the health and well-being of for people. So what is it we got to do? The first thing you have to look at before, if you do that, then you go into people's property. Those people who occupy, who live and got a business, but you're not providing them a sidewalk for people to walk through the city. You're not providing them. And then I heard Fraser, Council President, saying that she subletted some now to business. They pay something to vend on the pave. No, I hope that's not right. Because you need to move the vendors off the pavement. The pavement is for walking. It's for, well, you can endanger people's life on the walking on the roadway. You can't not provide them. We look at St. Barnabas School, where they be by Reporter Market there. High, low, up. I don't even think people need to go to park now. They can do keep fit on the pavement. The first thing that should be in the 2019.
Yeah.
You can see the council renovating and putting that pavement in a nice smooth walk and so on. That will be a full factor.
All
Can I
right.
make a point on this?
To enhance people to go into the businesses.
Yeah, thank you very much for your contribution. And I'll have Councillor Henry respond to what you've just said, because that's in his area.
Okay.
All right.
Comrade, I did some work on the pavement around border. It was imploding, and we did some concrete in it of the pavement. And we will continue to look at the pavement. But you know, in 2005, Georgetown is low. Georgetown is low in terms of its waterway is below sea level. And when we had those floods and so on, the business community thought it best to improve the pavement, but some of them were so selfish that they only did a round day area. So you have these high and low situations. The other point is with vending. As you know, we have to work a little bit more with our vendors. Our unemployment situation, rightly said, is very, very high. And so we have to take a very systematic approach towards dealing with vending. I, for one, have on my manifesto the need to work greatly with the vending community. Areas where we could improve in their business, we will improve in their business. Give them opportunities to move away from working on the pavement. Our leader, Comrade David Granger, said that one of the things we should look at is put a roof under each vendor's head, so that is something that the government is cognizant of. But as you know, unemployment, underemployment is rampant in our country, and it has come because of some of the factors we raised earlier. We have a government, we have an opposition which was not very, very sympathetic towards the vending community, and it's so increased. And the unemployment situation is not only due to the fact that, you know, jobs opportunities are not there, but the skill level of our people. We have to see whereby we could empower our vending community so that over a period of time they could move away from vending. Thank God for oil. Thank God for oil. Come 2020, I hope that we as a government and as a people will raise the level of development and livelihood of our people. And so that vending, I say in another 10 years, will be minimal in Guyana.
Morning, on the air.
Good morning, good morning.
Morning, sir.
In July of this year, I live in South Georgetown area.
Yeah.
In July of this year, after having listened to people in this constituency say some serious and derogatory things about the people who are supposed to represent them,
Yes.
I wrote 2 letters to the dominant political party in this area. Long and short of the story is that when I try to represent the people in this area, they tell me, they put me out of the party.
What?
I'm saying so. I got the letters to prove it too.
Okay, go ahead.
I can give you all this. And it's a well-known story, so they put me out of the party.
All right.
So
Yeah.
my contention is this. If at the last election, 85% of the people in this area vote for you, I see young women going to haul men, them buy gambling, and haul them out and bring them to vote. When I ask them now, yeah, I'm going to vote, we ain't going to vote. And no matter how you tell them. So I told the party that, look, this is what is happening. And because of their, I remember a term used by Mr. Archibald Codrington. Remember Archie Codrington?
Yes, I remember Archie.
Archie said there's rascality and vagabondage.
Vagabondage.
Yes. So what I'm saying is this: how does these people have to come back to these very people? What will they do? What strategy? They have become almost like the new, and I'll use a word that old people used to use, Bokra. You know what Bokra?
Bokra.
Let me tell you what Bokra. Them white people used to ride their hearts and about them.
Bakra.
All right.
Oh, Bokra, man.
But what has happened is that this party that I know from since 1964 has become a party where you don't see people, very senior representatives I know, but our founder leader Burnham coming all about here and talking to people. Now you're hearing the people in that time. And when in that time, they're still coming and asking you, Ma, how you think it's when election time. But I knew that this was going to happen. I'm saddened that it has happened. But I want to know what strategy. The same people would diss you. You know them young people, Tom? The same people would diss you. How they will come back to you now and tell you, Ma, we did wrong. They don't have that style in them. And they will not do it, and I am afraid that this nonsense will continue.
Well, I want to...
disenfranchised, and people are not going to vote. At the moment you start encouraging people not to do something, they're going to continue doing it. And something has to be done with the representatives in this area. Well, I know about the other area, but I know about this area. You don't see them, you don't hear from them, and when you talk, they're dissing you. They got to do something, and the party got to get up. Somebody like me that's been in the party since 1964 with YSM.
Yeah. All right. I take your point, and I don't want you to kind of come off the line. I want to just say to you that if you recall in my earlier statement, I said that this first period that they had after 2016 can be treated as the apprenticeship period. But I am sure that you have recognized that people are now more aware of local government and its system and what is required.
No, sir. I say it's power. They get the power, and then they decide to talk down to people. They're forgetting that it's the very same people that put them there. You know, what the Kaiso man was there, he says, we put you there.
Yeah, I heard you.
So that it is not that they don't know, it's that they get powerful. And then because they get powerful, particularly in my area now, it's a business, it's almost a money business, where contracts and so on and so on. So people who want to talk and the young people who want to be part of it, and young people come up with very good ideas, exceptionally good ideas.
Yeah, I know. I agree with you there. And we need to make... The two councillors made two significant points. One is that there is a pronounced need, say, for more engagement by councillors in the constituency to address on a constituency basis needs and requirements for the people living in there. And you have said the other part, they need to be more visible.
No, regularly active, but I have skills that I can give to the constituency. And if you notice, if you have your resource personnel, you're going to know all the people who are
correct.
going to give skills to you. Don't tell me about money. People, I can tell you this, there are people in the United States and so on who've been living in the South of area who say, if the right people are there, they're going to send little money, they're going to send little tools, they're going to send all kind of thing. But when they hear the names of the people and they get the comments, remember now, everybody talking to everybody about WhatsApp now, you know?
Yes, I know that's a big thing now. The social platform, the social media platform is a big thing.
If the people are hearing that things are not going good, how you going to get money from these people? How you going to get help from these people?
All right, I take your point, and I recognize that you have unswerving interest in making sure that things move forward.
I live in here, I got to look after
and you have skill set that can be used to promote the constituency. And I think that is constituency 14? Constituency 12? Well, I will make sure that I make a note of what you just said, and I will convey.
I got a letter, so let me tell you something. The only reason I didn't make a lot of noise is because it would have embarrassed the party. And I had such respect for the party that I didn't do and send a letter to the newspaper and all about.
Thank you very much for your call, right?
Good.
And I'm gonna get in touch with the constituency rep to make sure that they make contact with you.
Well, they never make contact with me because they put me out and they know me, you know. I come from the PNC.
All right.
Maybe no for make nice, you understand what I mean?
Yeah, okay, my friend.
Good.
Yeah, fellas, you have heard. And the guy has said a mouthful. That seemed to be the constant refrain in all the constituency. And you have said it aptly, Ivla, the need for our constituency representative to be more visible, one. And I like what Mr. Fraser pointed out. The constituency need to formulate their plan and programs in consultation with the people in the area, so that those concerns can be addressed. Morning on here.
Yes, man. I just called to add to what that previous caller had said. He had said a mouthful.
Yeah.
Yeah, these fellas are taking the people for granted. I'm a supporter like him as well. I've been in the party for the past 40 years. And I have seen this coming. I have seen a whipping for them on this last local government election in that they have no time for the people. Okay? That's all my contribution.
All right, thanks for calling.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the same chorus.
Yeah.
That's the same chorus
I want to
again.
make a point.
You wanted to say something.
I want to
Yeah,
say
Gregory.
something. The persons that are representative of the constituency or from the party, in most cases, are persons that are aligned with the government. And so that is why I say that you have to have these councillors, myself included, be more engaged in the constituency that they are from. Because as soon as you see something goes wrong, they said it is the president, and it is the president. But the president have a representative there, the person of the constituency person, or the person, the PR person. And local democracy is alive now, so that every constituency have a person that they can. They don't have to go to the president. They must find a representative.
I like that, because by doing that, you will be able to get information as to what needs to be done. You will know if such person making those demands and requests are up to date with the taxes. You will have data in relation to what are the social services in the community that need to be looked at and so on, like the lady who called and said things like safety on the pavement, safety, but people walking on the, those are all essential. Morning on here.
Very good morning.
Morning.
I agree with the very first caller.
Please speak a little louder.
I agree with the very first caller who says that the people who are supposed to represent certain areas, you don't fool them. I live in Alberta, and I don't know who is the person that had run the local.
You don't know who's the person representing your kind of constituency at the city council, but you don't know that
No.
because you haven't been seeing him.
And Alberta is the dirtiest place.
Ferreira.
Keeping out the names, I ain't calling.
Every drain in Alberta, the people just dumping bottles,
Mhm.
food, glass, whatever you can. if you come through J Street and you look into some alleyways, you see the slush that they have there. And nobody is paying attention. The last time they put out some notice of charging the people. Until this day, not a person has been charged. You walk along the road, you see the little children throwing the plastic bags on the road. There's got some sort of redress if the council
Yeah. Some strategy need to be developed to address this issue of loitering and throwing things carelessly all over. That's what you're saying? Huh?
I said that's my contribution.
Yeah, thanks for calling. Thanks for calling.
In the areas so people can know them.
Yeah, okay. So they can lodge a complaint and propose kind of measures to correct
Correct.
whatever.
Yeah, that's what they want.
Yes. All right, thanks for calling. I'll make a note of what you said. Of course, an earlier caller had said just similar to what you said. Yes, and fellas, I would like to say to our viewers that we at the Forbes Burnham Foundation, we try to bring information that can be of benefit to you to make your lives better. And that's one of the reasons why after local government elections, as host of this program, we decided to bring in 2 councillors. Well, of course, I myself, I'm a councillor now, and I'll be going on the council this time around to make sure that issues are addressed in the interests of the people's welfare. Morning, you're on the air.
Good morning, Mr. Hines and the 2 other men there.
Yes.
I do want to endorse most of what has been said.
Yeah.
However, I know that the City Council has been working, and many of us citizens, as soon as they clean, 1 minute after we done. Anyway, what's bothering me the most is the bad management. The bad management in terms of collecting taxes from those rich people. Why should those people be owing millions of dollars in taxes for more than a year? Since the council has to remedy that. I also want to say that we had a meeting, I think it was about 4 years ago, I'm not sure, I'm not good with memory where those things are concerned, where I suggested that the City Council appoint, with the help of central government, little wardens to charge people and let them pay a fine. If people continue to dump and dump, you understand? I also want to let it be known to you that the people did not vote, including myself, not because we were not educated about City Council, me in particular, because we were disappointed with the situation. The councillor is not working at King Peter. If you ever come in here, you probably know who's speaking. I am sad and so disappointed, Mr. Hines, and I'm hoping that you...
Where are you from?
So
Right in here, where you from?
In my place? okay.
Call my name today. Not me call my name.
Don't worry, I want it. I know it's Uno.
Hi, good. So I'm expecting good things of you, please.
Yeah.
I am with the BNC, I don't like the R, since I'm 14 plus. This is the party that the Almighty has sanctioned to keep this country in racial harmony. But you have to step up at your game. I have to do better. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks for calling. And I would say to the persons who voted in constituency 5, which I represent, I was the proportional representation candidate on behalf of the PNC for that constituency, and I've been extracted from the list to join Mr. Akim Peter, who is the first past the post candidate. So constituency 5 now has 2 local government representative, that is, or the mayoral, the city council. We have 2 representatives now in the council, and those persons who know me in the constituency know what I stand for. Things will move on with consultations. I want to thank those persons in the constituency who voted for the party in that constituency, and because the symbol of the palm carried that constituency heavily, and we had the highest kind of percentage of votes, coming in second after constituency 12, and that is as a result of the mobilization and encouragement that we have done. And a lot of our people didn't vote as well, like in other constituencies, but for this time around, I am new, and these guys have already kind of gone through their apprenticeship period. I'm now new on the council, but I can give the word to my people. I'll try as far as is practicable possible to address the concerns, because the concerns of constituency 5 and 6 are the same. Fortunately, in my kind of constituency, I noticed that we are now building up what you call a mall going out somewhere on the seawall side here. We have Giftland, Office Max, and we got some other businesses in the area. But I'm saying that the work to be done in the constituency, which deals primarily with drainage and the maintenance of the road and crossroads and the drains, that is the secondary drain, the small drain, those things will be addressed, because currently there's a program under the IDB that is being executed by the Ministry of Housing in collaboration with the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, where they'll be spending some kind of money, a few million US dollars, to fix those roads, to put lights and to put pavement for people to walk in constituency 5 and 6. So therefore, persons in Sophia, Lilendal, Patterson, Turkine, we need to get our act together. We need to meet, discuss how we will support these things that are being done in our constituency to make life better. And I can tell you that I am on board with that, because what the government has done over the past few years has brought about great changes in both constituencies by fixing the road and putting lights and so on. But the whole program is now moving to another stage. And persons who, because we're trying to lift the quality of life for persons who just have a plot of land, but the structure in which they live is just a little ordinary structure where they don't have toilet facilities and bathroom facilities, and they have children. The part of this component going on in Sophia is that persons need to go to the housing ministry, get your form, and apply for the grant. I think the number is up to 500,000 you can get to bring yourself up to speed with your condition. Then they got a home improvement kind of component where you can, if you have a plot of land, you got your license, your lease, you can apply as long as your income is, you're earning under, because they have some single parent who are earning under $75,000 a month. You can take that form, apply, and you will get assistance to, they would arrange contractors, bring your home up to speed where you'll be living much comfortably. The whole idea is geared towards making life better for the people who live in this constituency that is kind of contiguous to the expanded kind of Georgetown of which you speak. Yeah. That's all I wish to say, and I just to say thank you. Morning, you're on here.
Morning.
Morning.
There's an advice I have to give to the councillors.
Yes.
I don't know if they would take it or they would leave
That's
it.
what they're open to. That's why we have this program.
Yes, sir. You know, as an old police, ex-police, I would say, the problem in these councillors is to interact with the people. Is the people put them, and you must go out to the street like Mr. Way and interact. Also interact on the ground floor.
Yes.
You know what is annoying me? When my president, Mr. Gray, had won, is the people on the ground floor was icing him up when they say that this is the day that the Lord has made.
Yes.
Which day? You can't talk to these people, the powerful. Which day the Lord has made? Today?
All right, I take your point. That is the chorus that you're saying there again, because that's what has been coming through on the call so far.
You can't talk to the town clerk, you can't talk to the mayor. If there's a problem, you're there in your area, you don't even know who running it, nothing at all. That's why black people come out in numbers.
All right.
Ask themselves something better them. And they have to do better as they can fail 2020.
I hope they take your advice.
I hope they do so, because I'm a pensioner and I said to 2 years I go home.
All right. Thank you very much for calling. Yeah, I really wanted to say something.
I like the comments that the comment is making, that we must interact more and we must do things. But I want to think too that we must be more observant And I like the comment that you're making that there is a facility in Sophia to improve the housing conditions of people. I think it's a burden, and I think in 3 years, remember it's 3 years this government is in place. Look at the condition of housing in Sophia. Look at the condition of unemployment in our country, underemployment in our country. You know, people should recognize that this government is really working, you know, and given another chance,
Yes.
we will do better.
Magic.
And for me, having been given another chance, I'm sure I'll do better as a councillor. Thank you very much.
Morning on here.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Yes.
Isn't it the responsibility of every NDC municipality to raise funds to carry their community, the constituency?
It is all part of the package. Now,
Yes.
I've been advised this, I think, is the Minister of Finance. I asked him what are his thoughts on that, and he said, as a municipality,
Yeah.
the fact that Georgetown is divided now into 15 kind of constituency, you heard the council saying they need now to have more interaction. Programs for advancement of the constituency can originate from within the constituency, and that includes the garnering and raising of funds to create employment and other kind of developmental activities in the constituency. If it is that the constituency would require international assistance in terms of its program going forward, having consulted with the constituents, then those programs will have to first be proposal. First of all, has to be lodged with the city council, who will have to collaborate with the state to make sure that it is done in a manner that is kind of consistent with our laws and regulations in relation to our development thrust and plan.
Right, correct. First of all, I have no sympathy, or I don't have any time with people who say they didn't vote.
Yes.
Because if you don't vote,
you shouldn't talk.
Good. Anyway,
Well,
that's
we
the,
still-
as it may. I am thinking that, the caller mentioned it earlier, we have to find ways, because it's not you, it is we.
Yes.
We
Yes.
have to find ways to ensure that our taxes are collected.
Yes.
There's no excuse for us having people owing the city council or owing us millions of dollars, and they have properties. When you don't pay GPL, they cut off your light. You don't pay GTT, they cut off your light.
GWI.
You don't pay your taxes, your place is up for auction.
Yeah.
We get with our taxes. Now, it's only 2 people per constituency. You people we cannot expect you to deal with the constituency. So we must have subcommittees within the constituencies.
Yes, that is true.
People who are calling in and saying, y'all have to, so we have to form our subcommittees within the constituency.
I can't agree with you more.
So that we can support you at the council level. That is how we are involved.
That's right.
People have to pay their taxes. There's no use you're saying that they garbage, they didn't pay anything, Sevon, Purans, whoever. We have to pay our taxes. As the council there says, we have to reevaluate our properties, because you have people who had properties that were cottages, and suddenly they become big businesses and they're paying the same rates.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. But those are issues, obviously, that we have to address. And I really want to thank you for that contribution that you have made in relation to what needs to be done. And I know these councillors who have already served, they have a clear idea as to what the problems are. And like my friend Henry has just said, he is prepared and he will do a better job coming along this time, because he understands what the issues are.
Supporting you guys, and we stand behind you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your call. I see my time is going. I want to say to our viewers, I want to ask these 2 erstwhile gentlemen in the studio here today with me to make their final remarks, because our time is up. Gregory, your final thoughts?
All I want to say is that at this point, I want to thank again, I've done this before, thank the person that supported my candidacy and caused me to be re-elected. I'm returning as a councillor, and I will do better than I did. I want to also say that we must, together as a council, make sure that we plan with the constituency in mind, because every constituency it's a peculiar constituency. You have its difference in each area. Every constituency will not be the same, and the problems will not be the same. And so we will have to bring all the different problems together and pool them in one pot, and then decide which will take priority, which we should move with first, which we can leave behind. And I just hinted to my friend, colleague, councillor, that I missed an agency. While I spoke of the GPL and GT&T, I failed to remember that GWI also use our parapets. And we must talk to, because we are paying water bill, we are paying light bill, we are paying electricity. And so we must talk to these people because they are using our reserve and ask them to make some kind of contribution. Those contributions will help us do better service to the people in Georgetown.
Like I said, collaboration within the constituency will become a critical factor in this time around.
And it must happen.
Okay.
It must happen.
Yes, Ivla.
For me, I too would like to thank those persons, those voters who voted for me to be the constituency councillor for Border. Border is strategic. It's located in the heart of the city. It's the place where we have parliament, we have 2 big markets, and there's a lot of scope for development. And with your kind assistance and your motivation and help, I think we could improve a lot. There are a lot to do to increase and improve the environment of Border. As the center of the city, we have a lot to do, and I buy into the idea that we should have committees, etc., formed so that this feedback we will have from the community, and it will help us in doing our work in City Hall. Thank you very much.
Yes, and there you had it, comrades. Well, of course, my constituency, Constituency 5, is a constituency in transition. We are what is a contiguous kind of community to the older Georgetown, and in our constituency there are some businesses, but we also have the University of Guyana. We have this new mall that's going up. We also have Giffland Max. We have the residents of North Sophia, Farmers Field, Plum Park, South Patterson, South and Liliendal, North Patterson, North Turkine. Those areas are in constituency 5, and this round I described that constituency as a constituency in transition, why I use the word kind of transition is that much of the residents of the constituency, because it has not been brought under the umbrella of the mayor and city council, they're still working with mayor. City council plays a part, Ministry of Public Infrastructure plays a part, but when the issue of reconciliation, of bringing the constituency under the umbrella of the mayor and city council, that much of what obtains the responsibility taken by the Public Infrastructure Ministry and other related agencies will now have to be done by the mayor and city council in collaboration with the people, institutions, organizations that make up that constituency to address the needs and requirements of the people in that constituency. I want to thank our viewers for being with us today, and as usual, I'm with you every 4th Sunday on this program, The State of the Nation, coming under the auspices of the Forbes Burnham Foundation. And I should tell you that all 3 of us on this program today are executive members of the Lyndon Forbes Sampson Burnham Foundation. With that, I say thank you until the next 4th Sunday in December when I see you again.